Alright, so basically in this video, I want to present a sort of work that I've been working on. I think it's very significant to the evolution and the development of people. I think it's a way of working smarter, not harder, and I'm going to present this stuff to you guys in this video. I call this Divination Desktop, okay? And the concept behind it, I'm going to pick up a piece of paper real quick. The concept behind Divination Desktop was the idea. It started off as an idea. Basically, I at some point in my spiritual development have desired a sort of communion with the Creator, a sort of connection, a sort of guidance, direction, a sort of love. And with that being said, I'm kind of a technician of sorts, and I was looking for a smarter, not harder way of achieving this relationship with the Creator, achieving this relationship, this connection. In the past, it used to be called divination. Divination was a way, it was a method and a technique of reaching the divine. I'm really fond of Michelangelo's painting of the two hands that are touching each other, signifying the relationship of God, of the Creator to us as humans. And so again, that was a lot of inspiration. That was the idea, the concept in building this. The other idea and concept was to create a sort of content management system, a sort of productivity suite, a sort of operating system that is based upon the functioning of a human being, so that an operating system, instead of revealing the stats of a computer, how much space, how much memory, and things of the such, that you would actually be able to receive statistics and things based on the human condition, based on the human soul, and based on our connection that we have with the divine. So with that being said, I started to develop this concept that we can query ourselves. Technicians know what that means. To query yourself basically means to inquire about something, like, what's wrong with me, or why do I keep experiencing this? What is my direction in life? How can I be closer to God? Things like that. So I developed this control panel. I developed this desktop with the idea that this desktop would be a sort of operating system, a sort of belief system that has been created with the intent of bringing us closer to the divine. So I created these little icons, and if you look closely, that this icon right here is actually a direction icon. It would have a little light next to it that would change colors according to certain conditions. That light could be red, signifying that something needs attention. It could be orange, signifying that something's kind of borderline or just basic stuff, and it could also mean a sort of direction. If that light was green, showing that everything, that the status of direction would be good, basically. So, with that being said, you would have a sort of direction. This direction would be a sort of routine. Obviously, you would have a sort of panel. And that panel would receive information from your soul. So the cool thing about each one of these panels, each one of these windows, each one of these small little applications, is that the information that is coming from each one of these is actually, the information is coming from your soul, which is really neat. So you basically, your soul would be informing the desktop, your soul, your presence would be informing the panel, and basically it would be informing, it would be informing each one of these. This is what I call my Under Armour application. Under Armour is pretty neat because it's It's basically a development tool. It's got all kinds of stuff to it. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you the panels at some point. But the point is that if there's a sort of condition, a hostile environment, things like that, this little thing right here would be red, orange, and green, just like the others. Red, orange, and green. And so basically, throughout the day and throughout like normal activities, if you can remember these little icons and you can kind of commit these icons to your memory, what will happen is that your intuition, your guidance, and your instinct, your insight will actually use these icons to communicate with you in a language that would basically be divination. So if you're in a hostile environment, you might see inside of your imagination a little underarm icon that pops up, and it has a little circle in it, and it's blinking orange or it's blinking red, like basically expressing a sort of caution. Obviously, you would be able to, in memory, you'd be able to memorize the panel of that, and it could populate as well. You could click on that with your memory, and you could and you could pull that up, and you say, okay, well, why is that light blinking? What's the cautious situation? The status of the heart. Sometimes our heart gets full, and we embody negative emotions, nutrition, things like that. The point is that each one of these would have a panel, and each one of those would populate different information, and all that information would be useful, and all that information would be applied towards directing you towards the divine, towards improvement, towards progression. This little wrench here is like a sort of settings that you would be able to go inside of yourself and meditate, and you would be able to see what life path that you're on. You'd be able to tweak little things within yourself. Same thing with the settings. And you would also have settings, and any of these have lights, and any of those 5 lights, depending on the different colors, signify what information is coming into each one of these icons, and how you apply each information that is coming from each one of those icons. So basically, for kids and for normal people, this is going to be kind of this might be second nature at this point, because we're very familiar with technology and how technology takes information and it makes it presentable and usable to us in the form of computing. Now what we need to learn how to do is to take the information that's inside of us and learn how to sort that out and put it into an effective and an efficient practice, so that we can continually improve ourselves, so that we can make it more educated decisions, and ultimately we can bring ourselves closer to what we call the Creator, closer to light, and closer to a sense of devotion and divination. So, thank you so much for watching this. This is just a brief introduction. In the next video I will have panels, and to give you sort of a visual of what this might look like. So, thank you so much.